Some of you are standing in the same place you were 5 years ago, not because life stopped moving, but because you refused to let go of what was holding you back. You keep watering a dead plant and wondering why it won't bloom. You keep holding tight to pain, people, and past seasons that were never meant to go with you into your next chapter. Listen, sometimes the door to your destiny won't open until you drop the baggage you're carrying. Life is not about holding on. It's about learning when to release. Growth demands release. The tree doesn't apologize when it sheds its leaves. It knows new ones are coming. The sky doesn't regret the storm. It understands that the rain must fall for life to begin again. Yet we humans, we cling. We hold on to grudges, failed dreams, guilt, relationships that expired long ago. And then we wonder why our hearts feel heavy, why our progress feels slow. Let me tell you something. You cannot grow if you refuse to let go. Every next level of your life will demand a new version of you. And that version cannot rise while you're still chained to the weight of yesterday. Today, I'm here to tell you, release what no longer serves your purpose. Let go to grow. Release the weight of the past. These words sound simple, yet they hold the power to unlock your entire future. Every person walking this earth carries something unseen on their shoulders. It might be the weight of regret, the echo of a mistake, a friendship that turned sour, a dream that slipped through your fingers, or words that cut deep and left invisible scars. We all have moments that didn't go the way we hoped. But here's the truth many forget. You cannot move forward while you're still looking behind you. The past was a chapter, not the whole book. Yet many of us keep rereading the same page, hoping it will change. It never will. The ink has already dried. What you can change is how you carry it, how you interpret it, and how you allow it to shape you or release you. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone trying to walk while dragging a heavy suitcase that's broken and full of old, unnecessary things? Every step becomes a struggle. The weight slows them down. Eventually, their back begins to ache, their energy fades, and even the joy of the journey disappears. That's exactly what we do when we hold on to our past. We carry the broken luggage of guilt, resentment, and self-blame, thinking it's too precious to let go. But the longer we hold on, the heavier it becomes. You can't run toward a brighter tomorrow while your hands are still clinging to yesterday's darkness. Releasing the past doesn't mean you erase it. It means you stop letting it control you. Your mistakes are not chains, they're teachers. Every wrong turn you took taught you something that perfection never could. Maybe you trusted someone who betrayed you. It hurt, yes, but it also taught you discernment. Maybe you failed at something you believed was your life's purpose. It stung, but it also redirected you toward what truly aligns with your gift. Maybe you hurt someone and the guilt still whispers at night. But even that guilt can be transformed into wisdom if you choose to grow instead of grieve endlessly. You see, life is like a river. It keeps flowing. The water that passed yesterday never returns, but it nourishes what lies ahead. When you hold on to the past, you're trying to stop the river with your bare hands. You can't. All you can do is flow with it, learn from it, and allow it to take you where you're meant to be. There's beauty in release. A bird cannot soar until it spreads its wings, and you cannot rise until you let go of what holds you down. Take an example from daily life. Imagine a person who lost a job they loved. At first, the pain is deep. They replay the moment they were told to leave, wondering what they could have done differently. Days turn into weeks, and the bitterness grows. But then one day, they decide to stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? They begin to learn new skills, meet new people, and slowly their perspective shifts. A year later, they find themselves in a new place, a new career, one that fits them even better. When they look back, they realize that losing that job wasn't the end. It was the beginning of their real journey. The moment they released the past, growth began. Letting go doesn't just free your hands. It frees your mind, your heart, and your spirit. When you dwell on the past, you block the energy that could be used for your future. You drain yourself reliving moments that no longer exist. But when you release them, something incredible happens. You make room for peace. You make room for joy. You make room for new experiences that align with the person you are becoming, not the one you used to be. Sometimes people hold on because they think letting go means forgetting. It doesn't. You don't forget your past. You evolve from it. You can honor the memory without living in the pain. The wound may remain, but it no longer has to bleed. Healing isn't about erasing what happened. It's about refusing to let it define you. There's a difference between remembering and reliving. Remembering is wisdom. Reliving is suffering. The choice is yours. Even nature understands this truth. Look at the trees in autumn. They don't cling to their leaves when the season changes. They let them fall gracefully, trusting that new ones will come when the time is right. Yet so many of us keep holding on to what's dead, refusing to trust that something better will grow. You cannot hold on to both pain and peace. One must leave for the other to stay. You might say, but it's hard to let go. Of course it is. Growth is never easy. It takes courage to release what's familiar, even if it hurts. But what's harder is staying stuck in a place that no longer feeds your soul. The pain of holding on eventually becomes heavier than the fear of letting go. The moment you finally release it, you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time, lightness. That's your soul breathing again. So ask yourself today, what am I still carrying that no longer belongs to me? Is it a memory, a mistake, a relationship, a version of myself that I've outgrown? Whatever it is, have the courage to set it down. You don't have to hate it, you just have to release it. Because when you finally let go, you open your hands to receive the future that's been waiting patiently for you. The past was the soil, but you are the flower. You can't keep digging in the dirt and expect to bloom. The sunlight is calling, the wind is shifting, and life is whispering one truth. It's time to let go so you can grow. Don't confuse loyalty with limitation. These words cut deep because so many people stay trapped, not because the door is locked, but because their loyalty keeps them standing in a room that no longer serves their growth. We live in a world that praises loyalty, and yes, loyalty is beautiful when it is returned, respected and balanced. But there's a difference between being loyal to others and being loyal to your own peace, your own growth, and your own purpose. Sometimes what we call loyalty is really fear. Fear of change, fear of loss, fear of standing alone. Yet staying loyal to something that keeps you small is not love, it's self-neglect. Think about it. How many people remain in friendships that drain them, relationships that suffocate them, or jobs that strip them of joy, all in the name of loyalty? They say, I can't leave, they need me. Or I've been here too long to start over. But if staying faithful to someone or something means betraying your own happiness, then that's not loyalty, it's limitation. Growth demands that you recognize when your loyalty has turned into a cage. In life, you will outgrow certain people, places, and versions of yourself. That doesn't mean you've changed for the worse. It means you've evolved. When a plant grows too big for its pot, it doesn't apologize for needing more space, it simply expands. The same applies to you. You cannot stay rooted in environments that no longer nourish your soul. It's okay to appreciate the season that once fed you, but it's also okay to move on when that season ends. The problem is, too many of us are trying to bloom in the soil that has already dried out. Imagine someone who's been in a friendship since childhood. They've shared laughter, secrets, and dreams. As time passes, one of them begins to grow mentally and emotionally. They develop new goals, new visions, while the other prefers to remain in the comfort of the familiar. Slowly, the relationship becomes heavy. Conversations feel forced, energy feels mismatched, and what once felt like home now feels like a weight. Yet, the growing friend stays saying, we've been through too much together. That's loyalty, but it's misplaced. Because staying loyal to someone who refuses to grow with you means you must shrink yourself to stay beside them. And that's not love, it's self-betrayal. Growth often offends those who benefited from your stagnation. When you start setting boundaries, people who were comfortable with your silence will accuse you of changing. And they're right. You are changing. You are becoming the person you were meant to be, and that transformation will make some people uncomfortable. Don't mistake their discomfort for your disobedience to growth. You are not here to fit into anyone's comfort zone. You are here to fulfill your purpose. Look at the world around you. The caterpillar doesn't stay loyal to the cocoon once its wings are ready. If it did, it would die inside what was meant to protect it only for a season. The same principle applies to your life. Some situations are cocoons. They were meant to shape you, not contain you forever. Once your wings are ready, staying loyal to that cocoon becomes your limitation. It's not wrong to outgrow something that once served you. It's only wrong to stay where you no longer belong. In your daily life, this truth shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you've been working at a job that pays the bills but crushes your spirit. You stay because you feel loyal to your boss or co-workers, but every morning you wake up with dread instead of excitement. That's not loyalty, that's fear dressed as obligation. True loyalty is mutual. It supports both sides. If something or someone is not growing with you, it's okay to walk away. It's not disloyalty, it's maturity. There's another kind of limitation disguised as loyalty to your old self. Sometimes we cling to our past identities, old habits, or outdated beliefs simply because they're familiar. You might say, this is who I am, even though that version of you was created by pain or survival, not by purpose. Don't stay loyal to the person you had to be just to get through your past. That version of you was necessary for then, but not for now. Growth requires shedding old skin, even when it's comfortable. Letting go of limiting loyalty doesn't mean cutting people off with anger or pride. It means releasing them with gratitude and peace. You can love someone deeply and still acknowledge that your paths are no longer aligned. You can appreciate what a job taught you and still know that your purpose lies elsewhere. True loyalty is not about staying, it's about honoring truth. And truth sometimes whispers, it's time to move. You owe it to yourself to surround your life with people and situations that challenge you to rise higher. Be around those who celebrate your growth, not those who compete with it or resent it. Be with people who clap for your progress, not those who question your every move. If you have to dim your light to keep someone comfortable, you are loyal to limitation, not love. The most powerful loyalty you can have is loyalty to your own evolution. Because when you honor your growth, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage to move forward gives permission to those around you to stop living in fear. You become a living example that change is not betrayal, it's breakthrough. So, don't confuse loyalty with limitation. Stay loyal to peace, to growth, to truth, to light. If something no longer aligns with your purpose, release it gracefully. If someone no longer walks at your pace, bless them and keep walking. You're not abandoning them, you're answering your calling. Because at the end of the day, your first responsibility is not to anyone else's comfort, it's to your own potential. And once you choose that, once you free yourself from misplaced loyalty, life begins to open in ways you never imagined. You'll breathe easier, dream bigger, and rise higher. Because the moment you stop shrinking for others, you start expanding into everything you were meant to be. Make room for the new. These words carry a quiet power, a whisper that becomes a roar when you finally understand what they mean. Life is always offering you something fresh, something higher, something that aligns with the person you are becoming. But here's the truth most people overlook. You can't receive what's next if your hands are still full of what's old. So many of us keep clinging to what was, afraid to release it, hoping it might change, holding on out of habit, out of fear, or out of comfort, yet nothing new can enter a heart that's already crowded. If you truly want to grow, you must make space mentally, emotionally, spiritually, for the new chapter waiting to unfold. Imagine trying to fill a glass that's already overflowing. No matter how pure or precious the water you pour in, it will spill out wasted. That's how life works. You can't pour new blessings into a soul overflowing with old clutter. Sometimes the reason you haven't received what you've been praying, wishing, or working for isn't because it's not meant for you. It's because you haven't created the space to hold it. The universe or fate or the natural rhythm of life itself doesn't place new gifts in crowded hands. You must clear the old to make room for the new. Think of your daily life. There are people who keep every old thing, old clothes, old messages, old emotions, because they believe letting go means losing. But holding on too tightly is what actually blocks abundance. Have you ever cleaned your room after months of letting things pile up? At first, it feels like a chore. But once you throw away what you no longer need, once you see the clear space, Something shifts inside you. You breathe deeper. You feel lighter. That same feeling applies to your inner world when you make emotional and mental space. You give yourself permission to receive clarity, peace, and opportunity. There was once a woman who wanted to start a new business, but she was stuck in a job she hated. Every day, she complained about her lack of progress, yet she refused to leave because the job felt secure. She said, "I can't take a risk. I have bills. I have responsibilities." But deep down, she was afraid of the unknown. Life kept nudging her with discomfort. Colleagues left. Her interest faded. Her joy disappeared. One day, she finally let go and stepped into uncertainty. At first, it was terrifying, but then something beautiful happened. New opportunities began to appear. Connections she never imagined came to life. Within months, she was doing what she loved and earning more than before. It wasn't magic, it was space. The moment she made room for the new, life filled it with purpose. Sometimes, making room for the new doesn't just mean releasing people or things. It means releasing old versions of yourself. The way you used to think, react, or see the world might have served you once, but now it could be the very thing holding you back. You can't carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's opportunity. If you want new outcomes, you must embrace new attitudes. Growth often begins with subtraction, not addition. It's not about getting more, it's about removing what no longer serves your highest potential. Look at nature, it never clings. When the season changes, the earth releases without resistance. The trees don't beg their leaves to stay. They let them go, trusting that new ones will grow in due time. The ocean doesn't hold on to the waves that pass, it lets them crash and retreat, knowing more are coming. The universe lives by the rhythm of release and renewal. But humans, we fight it. We try to force the old to stay, even when it's clearly over. And then we wonder why our souls feel heavy, why our minds feel stuck. We say we want change, but we hold on to everything that prevents it. Making room for the new also means saying no to what no longer aligns with your peace. You can't keep entertaining negativity and expect positivity to enter. You can't keep tolerating chaos and expect calm to stay. Life mirrors your energy. If you keep saying yes to what drains you, you leave no space for what fulfills you. Sometimes the most spiritual, empowering act you can do is to say no to others, to fear, to the habits that shrink your joy. Every no to what's wrong becomes a yes to what's right. Picture a garden. If you never pull out the weeds, the flowers can't grow. The weeds might look harmless at first, but over time they choke the life out of what's beautiful. That's what holding on to the old does. It silently suffocates your new beginnings. Making room means clearing your emotional garden, removing bitterness, resentment, self-doubt, and fear, so your inner flowers can finally bloom. It takes effort, but once you do, your spirit will flourish. Making room for the new can be uncomfortable because it requires trust. When you release something, there's always a moment of emptiness, a quiet space that feels strange. That's when doubt creeps in, whispering, "What if nothing better comes?" But that's just fear talking. The emptiness isn't a void, it's a cradle for new life. The silence before the next song. The pause before the next sunrise. Every ending carries the seed of a beginning, but you have to make space for it to grow. In your own journey, ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that no longer belongs in my life? Maybe it's an old pain you keep revisiting, a friendship that has run its course, a dream that no longer excites you. It's okay to love enough. It's okay to let it go. You're not abandoning your past. You're honoring your growth. The future can't find you if you keep hiding behind what used to be. When you make room for the new, you give permission for transformation to take place. You invite peace to dwell where chaos once lived. You allow joy to enter where sadness once lingered. You become a vessel ready to receive instead of a container full of yesterday. The more you release, the more space you create for life's blessings to flow in. So make room, clear the clutter, not just from your surroundings, but from your heart. Let go of what you've outgrown. Release what no longer aligns with your purpose. Trust that what's meant for you cannot miss you. Because the moment you open your hands, the universe begins to fill them with everything you once dreamed of and more. Life rewards the brave souls who are willing to let go of the old to make room for the new. Forgive so you can be free. These words sound gentle, but they carry a power that can break chains. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength in its purest form. It is the quiet courage of the soul that decides, I will not let my pain control me any longer. So many people walk through life imprisoned by what someone did to them. They smile, they work, they live, but deep inside they carry invisible wounds that never truly healed. They replay the betrayal, the insult, the heartbreak, as if holding on to it gives them justice. But in truth, it only gives them suffering. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about saying I refuse to let it own me anymore. Think about it. When you hold on to anger, it doesn't punish the other person. It punishes you. It's like drinking poison and waiting for someone else to feel the pain. Anger burns energy, peace, and joy. You might think, if I forgive, I'm letting them off the hook. But forgiveness doesn't release them, it releases you. It's not for their benefit, it's for your freedom. Because the longer you hold on to resentment, the more it eats away at your spirit, your sleep, your smile. You might not see it immediately, but it shows. It shows in your tone, in your energy, in your inability to trust again. Forgiveness is like opening a window in a room that's been closed for years. Suddenly, light and air rush in, and everything feels new again. Imagine you're carrying a backpack full of stones. Every grudge, every painful memory, every person who wrongs you adds another stone. You might say, it's not fair, they hurt me. And you're right, it's not fair. But carrying those stones doesn't make it right. It only makes you tired. One day, you realize your back aches, your pace is slow, and your joy feels distant. Then you make a choice to start unloading one stone at a time. You forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to walk freely. The more stones you release, the lighter you feel. That's what forgiveness does. It restores your energy, your peace, and your life. Every person experiences betrayal in some form. A friend who broke trust, a family member who disappointed you, a relationship that ended painfully, a situation that left you feeling wronged. But here's the secret: forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean you let someone hurt you again. It means you remember with wisdom, not with bitterness. You carry the lesson, not the wound. You can forgive someone and still set boundaries. You can release the pain and still choose never to walk that same path again. Forgiveness is not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about choosing not to live in that hurt forever. Let's bring this to a real life example. There was a man who lost his business because his trusted partner betrayed him. For years, he lived with anger. Every time he thought about that betrayal, it reignited his rage. He refused to start again because he said, I'll never trust anyone. One day, an older friend said to him, you're not punishing your partner, you're punishing your future. Those words struck him deeply. Slowly, he began to forgive, not because the betrayal disappeared, but because he realized his anger was costing him more than the betrayal ever did. The day he forgave, his creativity returned. He started a new business. He hired new people. This time, he built it stronger, and he thrived. Forgiveness didn't erase the past. It freed his future. Forgiveness also applies to yourself. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is the one in the mirror. You might replay your mistakes, your regrets, your missed opportunities, thinking, if only I had done better. But self-blame is another kind of prison. You are not the same person you were when you made those choices. You've learned, you've grown, and you're still here. You deserve the same compassion you give to others. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before. Forgive yourself for the times you tried to please others and lost yourself in the process. Forgive yourself for being human. Because when you forgive yourself, you stop living in the shadow of yesterday and step into the light of today. Forgiveness doesn't happen all at once. It's a process, sometimes a slow one. You might forgive and then feel angry again. That's okay. Healing isn't linear. Every time you choose peace over pain, you're moving closer to freedom. It's not about pretending it never happened. It's about choosing to no longer be defined by it. Think of forgiveness like pruning a tree. You cut away what's dead, not because you hate the tree, but because you love it enough to help it grow. The pain you release creates space for something greater to bloom. Peace, wisdom, strength. Look at nature again. After a wildfire, the forest doesn't stay black forever. Over time, green shoots begin to emerge through the ashes. The fire destroyed what was, but it also cleared the ground for new life. That's what forgiveness does. It clears the ground of your heart so something new can grow. The ashes of your past can still nurture your future if you let them. When you forgive, you reclaim control. You stop giving power to what hurts you. You stop allowing your past to dictate your peace. You begin to smile again, not because everything is perfect, but because you've decided to be free. Forgiveness is the doorway between pain and peace, between bitterness and healing, and freedom waits on the other side. So forgive not because they asked, not because they apologized, but because your soul is too valuable to be chained to pain. Forgive because you deserve the kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else's actions. Forgive because life is too short to keep carrying old hurt into new days. When you forgive, you rise. You step into a new level of strength, of clarity, of purpose. You begin to glow with a light that no darkness can dim. Because true freedom doesn't begin when the pain ends. It begins when forgiveness begins. Change your environment to expand your vision. This truth is one of the most powerful lessons life can teach you. You can't expect to grow if you stay planted in the same soil that limits your roots. Every dream, every purpose, every transformation begins with a shift in environment, sometimes physical, sometimes emotional, sometimes mental. The people around you, the conversations you engage in, the atmosphere you breathe in, all have the power to shape who you become. You can have the biggest dreams in the world, but if your environment is small-minded, your vision will start to shrink until it fits into the world around you. Growth requires courage. One of the greatest acts of courage is leaving behind an environment that no longer feeds your spirit. Think about it. If a plant is placed in a small pot, it can only grow to a certain size before it becomes root-bound. The plant doesn't stop growing because it lacks potential. It stops because it lacks space. The same is true for us. You can be talented, intelligent, and full of vision, but if you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and limitation, your potential will be confined. Sometimes you're not stuck because you lack ability. You're stuck because you're surrounded by people and places that don't inspire growth. Life has a way of whispering when it's time to move on. You start feeling restless, uninspired, or disconnected in the places that once made you feel alive. That restlessness isn't something to fear. It's a signal from your spirit saying, it's time for more. It's time to move from comfort into challenge, from familiar into expansion. Growth and comfort never coexist. If you want one, you must let go of the other. Imagine a young man who's been working at the same small shop for years. The job is safe. The routine is predictable. He knows every corner, every task, every face, but deep down, he feels a fire burning, a dream to start something of his own. Every day, that voice gets louder, but he silences it with fear. What if I fail? Then one day he meets someone who thinks bigger, someone who challenges him to believe in himself. He begins to see that his environment was keeping him small. Slowly, he takes the leap. It's hard, yes, but in that discomfort, his potential begins to unfold. He realizes that the world is wider than the small corner he used to stand in. That's what happens when you change your environment. You begin to see possibilities that once felt impossible. Your environment is not just the physical space you live in. It's also the mental and emotional space you keep. It's the people you listen to, the words you allow in your mind, the energy you tolerate around you. If everyone around you complains, doubts, or lives without passion, you'll find yourself mirroring that energy without even realizing it. But when you surround yourself with people who dream bigger, think deeper, and believe stronger, your own vision starts to rise. You start believing you can do more, become more, be more. Sometimes changing your environment doesn't mean moving to a new city or changing your job. It can start by changing your habits. Change what you read, what you listen to, what you watch. Feed your mind with growth, your heart with hope, and your spirit with possibility. A person who fills their space with positivity begins to think differently, and thinking differently is the first step to living differently. The environment inside you matters as much as the one around you. Think of a seed. When planted in the right soil, It grows strong and vibrant, but if that same seed is dropped on concrete, it will wither not because it lacks life, but because the environment cannot sustain its potential. You might be that seed full of dreams, full of gifts, but trying to grow in the wrong soil. You can't bloom in places that don't value your worth. You can't find peace in spaces filled with chaos. You can't find light in rooms built on shadows. Sometimes you have to uproot yourself and replant in an environment that matches the future you desire. There's a moment in everyone's life when they must ask, is my environment helping me grow or keeping me small? Be honest with yourself. If your surroundings no longer challenge you to evolve, maybe it's time to expand your circle. Find people who talk about goals, not gossip. Find friends who inspire you to rise, not stay where you are. Energy is contagious. If you surround yourself with builders, you'll start building too. This truth also applies to mindset. Your mental environment can either nurture or destroy your dreams. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, self-criticism, you're building an environment of limitation inside your own mind. Speak words that empower you. Think thoughts that stretch your imagination. Remind yourself daily that you are capable of more, because before you change your outer world, you must transform your inner one. Life rewards those who dare to step into new environments. Think of a bird learning to fly. It must leave the nest, even if the sky feels intimidating. The nest was safe, but it was never meant to be permanent. The bird doesn't discover its wings until it leaves what once felt comfortable. That's you. Your wings will never open if you stay where you've always been. Changing your environment is an act of faith. It's trusting that what lies ahead is greater than what you're leaving behind. It's believing that growth doesn't happen in the echo of old voices, but in the silence where you can hear your own. Sometimes that means walking alone for a while. Sometimes that means starting over. But every time, it means stepping closer to the person you were born to become. So look around and within. What needs to change? What energy, habits, or company do you need to release to breathe again? Don't be afraid to move, to evolve, to rise. You owe it to your potential to plant yourself in the right place. Because when you finally find an environment that matches your greatness, your vision won't just expand. It will explode. You'll see horizons you never knew existed. And you'll realize you were never small. You were just planted in the wrong place. Be willing to be uncomfortable. These words carry the truth that most people avoid, yet they're the doorway to every form of growth, success, and transformation. Comfort feels safe, familiar, and easy, but comfort rarely leads to greatness. Everything you desire in life, peace, strength, wisdom, confidence, achievement, lives on the other side of discomfort. The person who refuses to step into uncomfortable spaces remains trapped in the small circle of what they already know. But the one who dares to step into the unknown discovers how powerful they truly are. Growth doesn't come from ease, it comes from endurance. You cannot rise without the stretch. And you cannot stretch without a little pain. Think about it. Every meaningful thing you've ever achieved required discomfort. When a baby takes its first steps, it falls, it stumbles, it cries, but it keeps trying. That's how it learns to walk. When a student pushes through sleepless nights to learn something new, that discomfort turns into knowledge. When an athlete trains until their muscles ache, that discomfort becomes strength. When you step beyond your comfort zone, what feels hard today becomes your normal tomorrow. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It's life's way of building you into the version of yourself that can handle your next level. Imagine a seed buried in the ground. In the darkness, under the soil, it begins to break apart. That breaking feels like destruction, but it's not. It's transformation. Without that discomfort, the seed would never push through the dirt, never see the light, never become the tree it was meant to be. In the same way, the pressure and pain in your life aren't there to destroy you. They're shaping you, preparing you, strengthening your roots. The challenge you face is not punishment. It's preparation. Many people pray for growth, but resist the process that brings it. They want success, but not struggle. They want strength, but not sweat. They want victory, but not vulnerability. But life doesn't work that way. Every blessing demands a version of you that discomfort must shape. You can't gain new wisdom with the same old mindset, and you can't gain strength without first facing resistance. Think about going to the gym. The muscle doesn't grow when you lift something light. It grows when you lift something heavy enough to cause strain. The pain is proof of progress. Without it, nothing changes. The same principle applies to your spirit. Your goals, your dreams, every stretch, every challenge, every uncomfortable moment is shaping you into someone stronger than before. There was once a young woman who dreamed of becoming a speaker. She was terrified of standing in front of people. Her hands would shake, her voice would tremble. For years, she avoided opportunities because she didn't want to feel that discomfort. One day, she decided to face it. She gave her first speech, and it was far from perfect. She stumbled over words, forgot lines, but she finished it. She walked off stage shaking, but proud. The next time, it got a little easier. Over time, what once terrified her became her greatest strength. She discovered her purpose hiding behind her fear. That's the power of discomfort. It reveals abilities you never knew you had. In daily life, we often choose comfort without realizing it. We stay in the same job even when it drains us. We avoid difficult conversations to keep the peace. Even when silence is destroying us, we stick to old habits, even when we know they hold us back. But comfort comes with a cost. It costs your potential. The longer you stay comfortable, the more your dreams begin to shrink. Your heart knows when it's ready for more, but fear convinces you to settle. You start to believe that comfort equals safety, but in truth, it equals stagnation. Growth demands that you risk discomfort, that you challenge what feels familiar. Look at nature again. The butterfly is born from struggle. Inside the cocoon, it fights to break free. That struggle strengthens its wings. If someone tries to help it by opening the cocoon early, the butterfly never gains the strength to fly. The same happens in our lives. The struggle you're in is developing strength you'll need later. If you run from it, you rob yourself of that strength. Discomfort is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to become. Discomfort also teaches humility. It reminds you that you don't have all the answers, that there's still room to grow. It builds empathy because once you've felt pain, you understand others more deeply. It builds resilience because once you've endured difficulty, you no longer fear it. Discomfort doesn't just change what you can do. It changes who you are. It builds character, patience, and perspective. These are things no comfort zone can offer. Being willing to be uncomfortable means saying yes to growth even when it scares you. It means trying again after failure. Speaking your truth when silence feels easier. Taking a chance when certainty feels safer. It means learning to trust the process even when you can't predict the outcome. Because here's the secret, the discomfort is temporary, but the growth is permanent. The pain will pass, but the strength you gain will stay with you forever. Think of a person who starts a new path, a business, a move, a dream. At first, it's lonely, uncertain, and overwhelming. They question themselves, they face rejection, they doubt their decision. But day by day, step by step, they adapt. The discomfort begins to fade, replaced by confidence. What was once terrifying becomes empowering. That's how transformation works. You never wake up one day magically confident or fearless. You build it through every uncomfortable step you take. So don't run from discomfort. Embrace it as proof that you're growing. When life feels heavy, remember that the pressure is molding you into someone unshakable. When fear whispers, "You can't handle this," answer back, "I was made for more than comfort." Every time you choose growth over ease, you're telling the world, "I am becoming." You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses, braver than your fears, and greater than your limits. Be willing to be uncomfortable, because the truth is, nothing extraordinary ever grows in the comfort zone. The comfort zone may feel safe, but the magic happens beyond it. Every great leader, artist, or dreamer you admire once stood where you are, unsure, nervous, uncomfortable, but they moved anyway. That's what made them great. The life you want, the peace you seek, the success you dream of, they're all waiting just past the edge of your comfort. Step into it. Trust it. Let the discomfort refine you, not define you. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that every moment of struggle was simply preparing you to soar. Learn to trust the timing of your life. These words hold a deep and powerful truth that every soul must eventually come to understand. We live in a world where everything seems to rush, where people want instant success, instant recognition, instant change. But true growth doesn't happen on demand. It unfolds in its own divine timing. Every season in your life has a purpose, every delay has meaning, and every closed door has protection behind it. When you learn to trust the timing of your life, you release the weight of anxiety and embrace the wisdom of patience. You understand that just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. It just means the time is still being prepared for you. So many people struggle because they measure their life by someone else's clock. They see others succeeding, getting married, buying homes, or achieving dreams, and they start to feel left behind. They begin to question, why not me? Why is my turn taking so long? But timing isn't competition, it's coordination. The universe isn't punishing you by making you wait, it's positioning you. Some blessings take longer because they require you to become strong enough to hold them. You wouldn't plant a seed today and expect a full-grown tree tomorrow. Growth requires nurturing, weathering, and waiting. You can't rush a process that's meant to shape you. Think about nature. It never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. The sun rises and sets in perfect rhythm. The seasons change with flawless timing. You don't see a tree worrying about when it will bloom. It just trusts the process. And when its time comes, it blossoms without effort. Life is no different. You are part of a divine rhythm, even if it doesn't always match your schedule. When you stop fighting the flow and start trusting the timing, you begin to experience peace. There's a story of a man who spent years building his business. He worked hard, stayed disciplined, but nothing seemed to click. Others who started after him began to find success, and frustration crept in. He wanted to quit, thinking he had failed. But he didn't realize that the years of struggle were preparing him for something greater. Those difficult seasons were teaching him patience, resilience, and wisdom. When his breakthrough finally came, it wasn't just success, it was sustained success because he had grown into the person capable of handling it. Had it come earlier, he might have lost it just as fast. That's what trusting the timing means. Understanding that delay doesn't mean denial. Sometimes it's preparation disguised as waiting. In daily life, we see this pattern everywhere. A student studies hard but doesn't get the results they want right away. A person applies for countless jobs but keeps facing rejection. A dreamer works on their passion but sees little reward. It's easy to lose faith in these moments, to think nothing's working. But behind the curtain, life is aligning things for the right moment. You're not being ignored, you're being refined. Patience is not just the ability to wait, it's the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. That's the test that shapes character. Sometimes trusting the timing of your life also means letting go of things that didn't work out. The relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, the door that closed, all of it had a reason. You might not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and see how it led you to where you needed to be. Maybe that relationship would have distracted you from your purpose. Maybe that job would have limited your growth. Life doesn't take from you without giving something better in return. It just doesn't always happen immediately. Think about the bamboo tree. For the first few years after it's planted, nothing visible happens. It looks like it's not growing at all. But beneath the surface, its roots are spreading deep and wide, creating a strong foundation. Then in just one season, it shoots up feet after feet, growing faster than anyone could imagine. That's how life works. The years of silence and waiting are your root years. You're building strength underground, unseen but essential. When your moment comes, you'll rise higher and faster because of the foundation you've built. Trusting the timing of your life also means trusting yourself. You are exactly where you need to be to learn what you need to learn. Every lesson, every delay, every detour carries something for you. The missed opportunities teach humility. The long waits teach endurance. The sudden turns teach adaptability. And together, they shape a version of you that's wiser, calmer, and more grounded. You might not control the clock, but you can control your mindset while you wait. Instead of asking, why is it taking so long? Ask, what is this season trying to teach me? There's a certain peace that comes when you stop forcing things and start flowing with time. You begin to realize that everything that is meant for you will find its way to you. You won't have to chase or beg. It will arrive when you're ready. Sometimes that readiness takes longer than you'd like, but that's okay. The greatest blessings often take the longest because they're being built with care. Quick things fade fast, but things built slowly have lasting roots. Imagine a farmer planting crops. If he digs up the seeds every day to check if they're growing, he'll destroy them. The same happens when you keep doubting your journey. Stop digging up your seeds with worry. Water them with faith, nurture them with effort, and let time do its work. You'll be surprised at what blooms when you stop trying to rush everything. So, if life feels slow right now, don't lose hope. Trust that the waiting is working in your favor. Trust that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what's not meant for you will never stay. Every delay is a setup for a greater purpose. Every no is guiding you toward a better yes. The world may move fast, but growth that lasts takes time. You are not behind. You are not late. You are simply in your season of becoming. And when your time comes, it will unfold effortlessly because it was always yours. The only thing you must do is trust, keep moving, keep learning, and keep believing that life's timing is not random, it's divine. And when you finally step into your season, you'll realize that every moment of waiting was not wasted. It was preparing you for everything you once prayed for.